All right. And then we've got the supply shock ratios. And I saw you tweet this last night, and I literally just got a smirk on my face. And I said, Will has been all over this chart, and this is like the money chart. So explain to
Yeah.
everyone again, what is the supply shock ratios and what is the chart showing?
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is probably like if I had to, use one chart or I would also use the liquid supply shock ratio, but this one from a macro sense is just, it really speaks for itself because you're taking a ratio of all the supply held by long-term holders to short-term holders, and you're you're taking a comparison of those. And so whenever the long-term guys lock up a certain portion of supply, you start to get this supply shock or supply squeeze effect in the market. And then one thing that's important to note is, well, first of all, we're at an all-time high in this, like by far, if you look in the top right, but also in the, over the next probably month or so, I mean, this isn't for sure, but I would suspect you'll start to see them trim their holdings, and we'll keep an eye on this for sure. But into strength, you see the long-term guys start to sell. Like they don't perfectly time the top, but they slowly sell into strength, and then they accumulate into weakness. And so as we start to move higher, with major bull rallies that Bitcoin's had, you just naturally are going to see those long-term guys start to distribute their coins. So don't take that as an absolute red flag, because I think now at this point that they've locked up this large portion of supply, and this is what seems like what happens every time the ratio gets in the top part of the little green highlighted zone I put there. They lock up a certain amount of supply. As the marginal demand keeps stepping in, the only way they're able to acquire new coins is to start bidding the price up because the float is so low. And then once that starts to build up the momentum, it's already kind of taken a leg of its own. And then the long-term guys can start to sell into that rally. But I think we've now kind of initiated that demand. Obviously, the confirmation will be like above all-time highs to say that that's absolutely, the case. But I think like at this point, we're getting ready to, have an exciting remainder of the quarter, as we've been talking about, since summer. So it's been really cool. I remember we first started following this, the ratio was below the green box, and we've just been on this for weeks now. So I mean, this is from a macro sense, this is probably the most bullish chart, I guess you could say.
So what's really interesting about this is in prior bull markets, if we pull the chart up one more time, what you can see is that it kind of tops out in the green zone, right? So if you go all the way back to, I think it's 2015 in 17 into 18, and then in 2020, you can just see that it kind of ends up running up into the green zone and then coming back down. This is way higher than it's been previously. Do you think that indicates as the price increases, it will be more volatile? It'll be kind of like an even more breathtaking move? Or should we not read into almost like the severity of how much further we've gone past that green zone than in prior bull markets?
Yeah, I think that stands out to me. And then also the base of which at the bottom of, at the bottom of the ratio, but at the, that distribution zone from earlier this year, around 50, 60K, you'll see that the base that the long-term holders had to build off of was much higher than that of at the end of 2017. So yeah, I think it just kind of goes to show you this behavioral shift in the market. Also, like if you plot out the liquid supply shock ratio, and over time, I think this one makes the point I'm about to make like really clear is it over time, it's in this descending channel. In the first half of Bitcoin's existence, it spent that in the bottom half of the channel, and kind of the latter half in the upper part. And then after COVID of last year, which I don't think is a coincidence, you started to see it break out above that channel, and it's now kind of floating in no man's land where we've never really seen it before. And so yeah, I think you're seeing this behavioral shift in the market of people are just holding their Bitcoin for the long term. And I think this is, pairing the two of these charts together. I think you could reasonably make that argument.